Hey, welcome back to Mr. C's e-bike. Today I've got another bike sent to me for review, and I can't pronounce the name of it, but they're made by KAIJIELAISI. I think it's in direct comparison with the KAIJIELAISI K800, and this one, they're making a new line, and it's going to be more cost effective. So this is going to be a 2,000 watt all-wheel drive e-bike for $11.99, which is a really good price if this bike is any good. And I'm going to put it together and I'll tell you about it. I'm not going to be able to ride it today because it's so windy. None of the top speed tests or hill climbing tests or anything will be any good because the wind's going to be slowing me down so much. But I'm going to put it together. I'm not going to do an assembly video, but it's straightforward. And as always, if you need any help, if you buy this bike and you need help putting it together, you can email me or leave a comment and I'll help you out if I can. And they have 24-hour customer service also. So I put it together and we'll take a look at it. All right, here it is. And I've been looking over this bike for a good hour, trying to find where they're saving money. And I don't really see it. I mean, the back rack isn't one of the thick, expensive ones. The forks are a little bit cheaper and thinner than what I'm used to. But I mean, as long as you're not carrying around 100 pounds regularly or hitting jumps higher than your tire, that's not really a reason not to get this. And as far as the brakes go, I mean, they're nicer brakes than what are on my H8. I mean, the brake levers themselves and the rotors are bigger. These have the 180 millimeter rotors instead of the 160. And I don't know, I only have two all-wheel drive bikes, and they all have two controllers. This one's got the one controller underneath, and I don't know if that's cheaper to put one all-wheel drive controller on other than putting two one-wheel drives. I have no idea. But like I said, I'm having trouble finding where they're saving any money. But we'll go over it and I'll show you all the pieces, parts separately. All right, and the bike was packed well. It came with the controller, which the plastic is a little bit cheesier. That plastic, if you drop on the concrete floor, you know it's going to break. Came with the manual, a bike lock, and the pump. All the tools you need to put it together, plus some extra zip ties. And that was pretty much it. It was packed well. I got it without any scrapes or dings on it. Let's pull this back out to the sun. So right off the bat, here's the brake caliper and rotor combination, along with the rims that I think are on both of my other all-wheel drive bikes. See how the rack is a little thinner, but I mean, it's a decent rack. I sat on it to see how much flex there was going to be, and it didn't move under 220 pounds. So, and the battery is a 48 volt, 23 amp hour. So this is a long distance bike. They say, forget what they say online. I think they said like 45 miles or something like that, but this bike is good for about 35 miles, just all throttle. A little more, a little less, depending on a bunch of other factors. And here's the shift levers are a little cheaper than what's on my other bikes, or at least feel a little cheaper. And it's got a nice colored display. I'll show you once I move it into the shade. You do have a selector switch for all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. It's a twist throttle. The brake levers seem pretty nice. I mean, you got a little bit of a reservoir up on top, to where if you do have to bleed your brakes or change the line, that's going to make it a lot easier to not suck any air in there. The headlight horn combination, which, I mean, it's the same one that is on the H8 and I think the Jumbo. So I know it's a good light and it's a loud horn. The adjustable lockout shocks on the front forks. And it is a 21 speed. You got 3 in the front, 7 on the rear. And I'm going to push it into the shade so I can show you the controller. And it's got a nice colored display. Or at the bottom, if you can see it, you can have your trip. Oh, if I don't knock the bike over first. Trip, your odometer, your max miles per hour, and your average miles per hour. I've already went in there and changed the speed limit and turned up the amps to the controller. And I'm not familiar with this kind of, well, these buttons to control the display, but I kind of like not having the power button in the center so you don't accidentally hit it while you're changing the pedal assist levels. And this also is notable. This has the most cushion of any bike seat that I've gotten with any of my other bikes. So this one I may not have to even change. All right, and they say it comes ready to go 28 miles an hour. It's got the pedal assist 1 through 5, which I believe you can go in there and change that. And you can change the speed restriction as well. I already went in there and I turned the speed up and I turned the amps to the controller up. And it was weird. It let me go up to 50 amps, which I know isn't right. I set it at 27. So I don't know if the controller will actually let you go up to 50, but 27 is a safe bet. And I guess the only thing else I got to do is throw some flat out in the tires so I don't get a flat on my first test ride. And I'll probably run it up and down the driveway so I'll have a little bit of an idea of how it's going to run on the first ride. And just messing with this a little bit without riding it, you can tell it's got a little bit of torque to it. So I think it'll do pretty well on the test ride. It just wants to go. I don't think it's got quite as much torque as the H8, but it's no slouch. Hopefully the wind will calm down so I can take this for a test ride. It's not too bad right now, so I may have to piece this together a little bit weird, but I'll get the first ride in and let you guys know how it did. All right, we're out here where I generally start my ride, and I'm in pedal assist 1 and all-wheel drive. Takes right off quick and then just stops. Well, it doesn't stop, it stops picking up at 11 miles an hour. Hit the button, you get that jolt speed. 18, 19 miles an hour. A little less of a jolt. Into 3. So we're going 24 miles an hour. Not much of a jolt at all going into 4. It's 27 miles an hour. We're hitting PSA 5. And we're 31 miles an hour. So 32 miles an hour will probably be the top speed out on the road. I will start my satellite GPS once I get out there so we can get an actual top speed, see how close this is to the satellite GPS. And as I suspected, the brakes work really well. Which I should have tested them before the highway, but I think I always do that. Alright. Now we'll get a top speed. I'll go down the highway one way, and then I'll come back and I'll check it. It's got pretty good pickup up to like 15 miles an hour, and then just gradually climbs from there. .5 32, 32.2. Gonna tuck down a little bit. Still at that time of year where if you're standing around in the sun, you're kind of warm in a t-shirt. But then if you get on the bike and the air's moving, top speed, 31 miles an hour. I think this said 32.2, so it's not that far off. So this has got a bunch of torque starting off. Less wind this one. Hitting 34, 34.1. I set up, it goes right back down. That's probably gonna be it. Less wind for a second. See how it stops on pavement. Oh. Well, let's see what the satellite GPS says. 33 miles an hour, top speed. I don't know if you can read that or not. There. Alright, let's go and get a hill test then. Well, if you're looking at bikes and you don't know a whole lot about them, you want to go out and ride with your friends. If all your friends have got rear-wheel drive bikes, get yourself an all-wheel drive bike. I don't care if it's a dirt cheap one with two 500-watt motors. You're going to pull away from them at the start. The top speeds are all here and there, but just to be able to take them off of the line, get an all-wheel drive bike. See, it was really fast, up to 15, 20, 22 miles an hour. 28 miles an hour. This is crazy going uphill, picking up speed this quick. I really didn't expect it from this bike. 29. Hey, we almost hit 30 miles an hour before we got to the top of the hill. And see if this bike slows you down going downhill. Yep. I don't know why they do that. It's a nice street bike. It's more than capable off into the sand and the bumps. And you can still feel that torque kicking in, even at like 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. Changed everything up here. I'm not really sure where I'm going. Guess I'm going straight. Jeez. Oh, is this a drop off? No. And if you ride anywhere where there's a bunch of sand, do yourself a favor and get an all-wheel drive bike. I had a rear-wheel drive, and my grandson now has a rear-wheel drive, and he's crashing all the time. Because his front tire, since it's not powered and isn't pulling itself through the sand, often it's just snowplowing through the sand. And you gotta watch these intersections. Nobody's got a stop sign. That's right. I just turned the front motor off. That's holding at almost 29 miles an hour. There's definitely a lot less torque without the all-wheel drive. The top speed is almost there, which is the important part. When you want to take off fast, if you're in traffic and going from light to light, keep it in all-wheel drive. If you're going down the side of the highway, you turn off the front motor, save on your battery, and just keep the cruise control on going down the side of the highway. I mean, why exert all your battery power just to hold speed? Yeah, I haven't tried the cruise control yet. There's no way I can do it out here. So I'm still just in one-wheel drive. And it's not bad. The sand isn't deep. Oh, yeah. I really expected the rear-wheel drive to be worse. I mean, taking off and getting the top speed like this, it seems really slow once you turn it off. But as you're going, I mean, it doesn't really feel like you lost all that much torque. And my H8, which is more expensive than this, doesn't have that selector switch. They tell you if you want to go with one-wheel drive to just come and unplug this, which works, but that's not the way to do it. Plus, I mean, people that do it regularly, they're going to end up making that plug loose, maybe breaking off one of the tines, one of the connectors inside. Yeah, rear-wheel drive isn't bad. There's definitely a lot less torque, but I think it's better in rear-wheel drive than H8 is. Don't tell Floto I said that. Let's try something. Down in the ditch. Rear wheel drive. Let's go. Nope, nope, nope. It's making it. Just barely. It crawled out at 6 miles an hour. Like I said, you lose a lot of torque once you turn that one motor off. I'll put it back into all-wheel drive. Try to find my tracks so I'm in the same spot. Alright. I'm right in the same spot. Getting out of the ditch, all-wheel drive. 7, 8, 9, 10 miles an hour. Yeah, so the one-wheel drive wasn't all that bad. I don't know if that test means anything, but oh, this might be too much of a test. Yeah, I do not want to do that. I think the bike would do it, but I'm not going to do it. For those of you who watch my videos, I will take this down into the pit for an endurance test, but not until after I put a few miles on it and I'm used to it, so I don't hurt myself trying to test it. I'm going to lose my helmet. I've got more testing to do on this, but all in all, I mean, it seems like a really good bike. I like the noise it makes when the front tires or the back tires off the ground and it winds out. I think I should have softened up the suspension on the front though. Jeez. Alright, I think I'm going to stop the video right here. Head back to the house. Give you my final thoughts on the first ride. Whew. Alright, the first ride on the bike that can't be named. It did really well. It actually surprised me when I turned the front motor off and kept on cruising. That's a good way to save your battery, which you already have a pretty good battery. So, and I mean, if I put it up against the only bike I know I can put it up against, it would be the H8. And you guys watch the channel, you know I love the H8. And this is a little less power, little less speed, but it's better option. It's got the switch to turn your front motor off, where Floto says if you want it off, just unplug it, which ain't right. It's got the nice colored screen. It's got the bigger brakes. So it's right there, but the H8 is a couple $100 more. So, I mean, if I was the average guy buying a bike and those two, this one and the H8 were in front of me and I knew all about them, it would be a hard choice. Other than I always like the power and speed, so I'd probably still go with the H8. But I mean, most people, I mean, this thing takes off quick. So if you're in traffic at a red light and trying to get out in front of traffic or whatever, there's plenty of power to do that. So I don't know. I give you guys the information. You guys decide. I'm going to put an Amazon link and a Walmart link down below in my description. Remember, this is $11.99, so it's really cheap and it's a nice bike. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell.